Welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Ottawa Senators 4, Toronto Maple Leafs 0, NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs 2025, Round 1, Game 5. Leafs lose 4-0. They still lead the series 3-2, but, well, I think we all know where this is going. Insert that gumball meme from that episode where he hits the nuke button, because, let's be honest, I think we all know where this is going. I wish we could skip to the end, but in real life, you can't. We have to watch Game 6, watch the Sens play the game of their life. The Leafs keep it close. Sort of like Game 4, maybe play a little bit better, lose in overtime, go to Game 7, choke. Am I the only one that feels this way? Is that the PTSD? I'm not a doomer by any means. I'm not. But this team, we said they were different. This team, we saw they were different. They won the division. They go up 3-0. They lose in overtime, and they come out flat and play their worst game of the series at home. The game where, this was the one where I felt the Sens had to survive. The Leafs play their best, they put them away. The Sens had to survive this one. They're going to throw it all out there in Game 6, and Game 7's a crapshoot. And they're going to throw it all out there as well. This was the game where they probably knew, hey, we survived this one, we got a chance. If we don't win, well, there you go. If we win, we survived, we go back home. It's that simple. That's what this was. The Sens played conservatively. They were hoping for bounces. They were hoping for puck luck. And in the end, that's what happened. That's what happened. The Leafs played horribly. This was the Leafs' worst game of the series. The top line, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, didn't show up. Tavares sort of did. Matthew Nyes, well, he is on the top line, but he showed up. Matthew Nyes put in a performance. It wasn't really helpful, but he did. Stolarz allowed 2, then 2 empty net goals. Sens win 4-0, and they have the second game 3-2 series deficit on their end. The Leafs still lead the series. They still need 1 win of 2. Anybody else could win 1 game and 2. Go 500 over these next 2 games. We're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs here. We've seen this before, at least from 3-1. But the Leafs, again, 1 win in 13. 1 in 13. 1 win in 14 when it comes to season-clinching games or series-clinching games. And again, the Leafs do it again. This team can't get out of their own way. And I gotta say, Pacioretty, don't play him. Like, is he better on zone entries? No, we've honestly played worse with him than without him. Bring back Robertson. Hell, put in Kampf if you want to. Hell, put in Alex Nylander if you want to. But don't play Pacioretty. He's cooked. Simple. Goals were scored as follows. First period, no goals. Leafs have a power play. They were buzzing for the first minute of it. And hooking the stick. They go to a 4-on-4. Nothing happens. They kill the other minute of the Sens power play. Then they have another power play to face. They kill both of that. There was a shorthanded rush for Lawton that he should have scored. Tavares had a rush in this game that he should have scored, but at least he shot it this time. Matthews had a shot on the rush that he should have scored. He didn't. And then he had an open net, top bins that he could have scored. He didn't. End of 1 at 0-0. The Sens, they're holding in, and the Leafs are holding that stick heavy. 3:46 into the second period. Tkachuk assists Thomas Chabot. Thomas Chabot with a slap shot over the shoulder of Stolarz, off the shoulder and in. 1-0 Sens. That's all they'll get. End of 2, it's 1-0. The Leafs have a couple of shots, but again, the end of the period, they start getting more to the net, but they don't really have it. Olmark's having a really good game. He finally had a really good playoff game for once. Third period. Gaudette plays it to Dylan Cousins after the giveaway. Dylan Cousins with a shorthanded goal. Puts it past Stolarz. 8:24 through the third period. 2-0. 17:08. Tim Stützle rushes down the ice for the empty net, puts it past the stick of Tavares to make it 3-0. Brady Tkachuk, 1914 through the third, empty net goal, 4-0, slaps it home. There you go, final 4-0. Toronto still leads 3-2, but again, we know where this is going. We know where this is going, and I'm not even really mad. I'm not even mad. I don't even want to scream because honestly, there's no reason to. This is classic Toronto Maple Leafs. Everybody thought they were different. Everybody thought this year was different. Everybody thought the Leafs would actually win this year, or at least get past the first round. They won the division. Berube has them playing playoff-style hockey. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. The Leafs are a joke. And I love Craig Berube. I do. I've seen him win a cup before for the St. Louis Blues. See, the difference between the Blues and the Leafs, and I'll tell you this right now, that Blues team had their back against the wall for 6 months. They lose, they're done. It was live to fight another day. That's what the Blues were at. You don't win, your season's over. That's pretty much the vibe that locker room had in 2019 when Berube came in. Your back is against the wall. You have to win. And every night, not every night because they still lost some regular season games, but for the most part, they won. Then the playoffs, they won. They acted like every night was the end of the road. When it comes down to it for the Leafs, tonight, let's be real, this was a Game 7 in all but name. This was the end of the road. And they dropped the biggest crap on the ice that they possibly could. Yeah, we still have a Game 6 in Ottawa. The Sens are going to throw everything in that game. You thought Game 3 and 4, the Sens threw everything they had? Oh, Game 6 is going to be crazier. They're going to throw everything they have into that game. Game 7, it's a crapshoot, but they will throw everything they have into that game in Toronto. Even though it's a crapshoot, even though it's in Toronto. This was the night for Toronto to win it. Because the Sens were just trying to survive, trying to steal a win. And arguably, they did. Arguably, they also pumped the Leafs. But they stole the win. Ullmark had the night of his life, player of the game. The Sens scored 2 bounces and 2 empty net goals. The Leafs could not find it. They played like it was a freaking preseason game. Simple. They played down to them. They played scared. They played afraid. They played like they had PTSD. And here we are. It's about to happen again. And I'm not a doomer, but this is pattern recognition. I thought these Leafs were different. I actually believed that this Leafs team could win this round pretty easily. And then the more they won, the more I was like, you know what, they can. And then they lost Game 4. I'm like, okay, but if they lose Game 5, they're cooked. And here we are. And they lost it in the way that I would say they're cooked. It's not like they lost in overtime again. No, they had the worst game of the series at the worst possible time. And now they have to bounce back, but they're bouncing back, if they do, against a Sens team who will give everything and throw the kitchen sink at them just to go to a Game 7. And then in that Game 7, throw everything at them to win. This Leafs team is exactly who they used to be, just a different coach that I actually believe in, and the same core. If we lose, blow it all up. Hell, fold the franchise. This was the chance. If you lose, fold the franchise. Forget blowing it up, fold the franchise. Simple. And I'll tell you this. Even if the Leafs win Game 6 or 7, what makes you think if the Panthers win tomorrow, Game 6 of their own series, if there is a Game 6, or Game 7, if there is a Game 7. If the Panthers win 1 game of their next 3, what makes you think this Leafs team is going to stand up to that Panthers team and somehow win? Forget home ice. We're playing the Temu Panthers. We're playing the Aldi Panthers. We are playing the Dollarama Panthers with Brady Tkachuk, who is the loser brother of the two. And they play the same way, but just younger and less experienced and have the same rule book. Even though the refs have called it a little bit unfairly, it's not as unfair as it will be when the frickin' Panthers come to town. They at least play on the same rule book. What makes you think if we can't handle the Temu Panthers, the Dollarama Panthers in the Sens, what makes you think we could actually deal with the actual ones who turns out they just played possum because they wanted the Leafs in the first round, and when they didn't get them, they said, okay, we'll beat the Lightning, and then we'll get the Leafs in the second round if Brady doesn't somehow beat them 4 straight after having a 3-0 lead. How? The Panthers are the one team I'm scared of, and the more I see from this Leafs team, especially over games 4 and 5, make me wonder if they do somehow change history and go against the grain and win game 6 or 7 and win the series, what makes you think they're going to beat the Florida Panthers? I was scared of them already. That was the one team I'd sit here and throw up my hands if we lost to and say, hey, they're better than us. They're better than us. That's the one team I'm afraid to play. That's the one team I don't think the Leafs beat straight up. They still could, but they won't if they play them. Everybody else, I thought the Leafs could beat straight up. Everybody in the Metro, I thought they could beat. I thought they could beat the Sens. I think they could beat everybody in the West in a 7-game series. Not the Panthers. Not the Panthers. No. Because they play on a different rule book. They're dirty as hell. And the Leafs, even though they're playing tighter, they'll still do Leafs things. Look right now. So my point is this. Even if the Leafs win this series and go against the grain of history, what makes you think they're going to beat the Panthers if the Panthers win one of their next 3? Which is very likely at this point. And even then, I think they could still beat the Lightning, but the Lightning would go in with a lot of momentum and the Leafs would go in surviving. That's not a good story either, but I'd still have more faith against the Lightning than the Panthers. But either way, also the Lightning would be beat to hell and back. That's also, I guess, good news if that was the series. But with that being said, yeah, I think we know what's coming. I think we know what's coming. And yeah, I'll still watch Game 6. We'll do a double live with that. The Cruz Azul Tigres second leg. So we could do a double review at the end of it. If the Leafs so do win, that'll be a good idea. If the Leafs lose, okay. I could have done it separately. If the Leafs play a Game 7, I'll be live for that after the TFC game. And we'll review both. Or maybe I'll just do it as a double anyway with how quick it is. Maybe I'll just do it as a double. And then boom. I don't know. Well, I think I will try to do the TFC video as quick as I can. Then I think it'll be separate. Even if. I think it will be separate on Saturday if there is a Game 7. But with that being said, I'm not looking forward to that. I can tell you that much. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribe. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put this in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you tomorrow for a double live watch along. Speaking of doubles, of Toronto FC versus CF Montreal Canadian Championship prelim round. And Inter Miami versus Vancouver Whitecaps Champions Cup second leg. If Miami wins and comes back, I will do a double review of both those games. If Miami loses, I'll just review the Toronto game once both of them are over. So it still could be a double review, but it depends on what happens that night. Because I still have to talk about Miami coming back if they do. So if they don't, it'll just be a Toronto review after both games are over. But no matter what happens in that game. But yeah, so a double review or a double live and possible double review tomorrow depending on the situation. Then, of course, on Thursday, we have the Chelsea live and review. Then we'll do a double for the Leafs leading into the Champions Cup, Cruz Azul Tigres second leg. And we'll review both of those after the Leafs game, or the Cruz Azul game, is over. So that'll be a double review itself, no matter what. So we'll at least have one double review this week. We'll have 2 double streams and possibly 2 double reviews. We still got Run It Back month ahead as well. So we're busy, is all I'm saying. We're busy this week. And it could all be hell anyway. With that being said, I'll see you later. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace.